This really is my dream home YouTube studio setup as a solo creator, mainly because I can start filming in less than 5 seconds. Let me prove it to you. 3, 2, 1. Hey Google, turn on my lights.
Turning 3 lights on.
Ready to film? I want to show you exactly how to set up something just like this that's going to save you tons of time, and I'm going to show you everything that I use to shoot these Think Media videos as a solo creator.
You gotta just press record.
Hey guys, my name is Nolan with Think Media. Now let's jump into the camera and lens setup that I use to shoot these videos. But before I even get into that, I want to tell you guys that a lot of this stuff, you don't have to get exactly what I use, but a lot of these tips and concepts are going to be really helpful to you guys, no matter what camera you use, no matter what microphone you use or light you use. A lot of this stuff, you can just get what I get, and all the links are going to be in the description. But if you have a different camera or a different microphone, these are going to give you some really good ideas specifically for those of us who shoot videos all alone. With that being said, I'm going to give you a little behind the scenes look with this camera right here. As I talk through this stuff, I'll show you guys exactly what I'm using and how I'm using it. We'll start with the camera, which is right here, which is the Sony a7S Mark III. And we have the 20mm f1.8 lens. This is a really great setup. I love using this camera. It's fantastic for all these videos. It's like top of the line, best YouTube camera that you can buy. So overkill for most of you guys out there, but if you want the best camera, this is definitely a good camera to go with. Now you can see right here that I'm not using a tripod. It's actually being held on this pole, which is called an impact varipole. All this stuff is going to be linked up in the description, so make sure you check that out. Now the impact varipole is so cool, and I actually have 2 of them. So you can see up here, it goes all the way to the ceiling, and then it goes all the way underneath my desk to the ground. And right now this is actually holding up my microphone. It's holding up my camera. So it's really cool. And then I have another one, which I'll get to, that goes on my ceiling, which is holding a light, which I will show you guys a little bit later. So the camera is connected to this varipole by a super clamp. This is the super clamp right here. And then this is an extension arm. And then from the camera to the extension arm, we have this ball head. This allows me to really easily just move the camera and to set it up, make sure that it's level. Now, the other thing that you'll notice connected to this varipole is going to be this podcast arm, where I actually keep my shotgun microphone, and it's just really easy to move, so I can bring it into the frame like this. And then if I want to bring it out of the frame, which is where I keep it, I can pull it up just out of the frame, and that works perfectly for me. I have my wires all just down here running straight into the camera, so my audio is going to be synced directly into my camera. Now, because the super clamp is right here, I was actually able to connect my podcast arm directly to the handle of that super clamp. Now, as far as my main key light, I have it in this softbox right here, and this is the only light that I use as my key light. I don't have any sort of fill light, and the reason for that is because when you have a key light that is close enough to you and it's big enough, it actually wraps around really nicely, adds a soft light, so you don't really need a fill light. And I actually prefer a little bit of shadows on this side of my face just to add a little more contrast to the shot. Now, inside this main key light, it's kind of weird. I basically have this LED panel, so it's super light, and it's taped inside of this softbox. This softbox actually came with a $50 light. So this isn't necessarily something I'd really recommend. It's just super lightweight. And originally I was just using that LED panel in the metal frame that it came with, but I wanted a softer light, and that's why I threw it inside of this softbox. But what I can do is actually leave a recommended light down in the description for you guys if you don't want to go this route, because I don't necessarily recommend it. One thing I love about it though is this remote right here. I can turn it off, I can turn it on really easily, really fast, turn up the brightness if I want to turn it up, I can turn it back down. So that's really nice to have those capabilities in this light, but it did take a little bit of finessing to get that LED light actually taped up to this softbox. Now on my actual light stand, you're gonna see I have this little tabletop thing right here. This is perfect just for extra storage. So this is for my camera, where I can like use the screwdriver, I can use the flathead to take all of this stuff off for the tripod. I have my lens caps so I don't lose those. I have my remote, I just keep that right here. I have my gray card right here so I can custom white balance my videos, and that all lives right here. I use these all the time, so I like to keep them just connected to the light. And this is something I bought as an add-on. I think it's meant for a mic stand, but I thought it would work perfectly, and it totally has. One other thing I noticed when I was shooting B-roll, or if I was shooting thumbnails, I wanted to move this light around a lot, and so I actually got a stand that had wheels. So down here you can see that the light does have wheels on it, and this makes it super easy to move around my room. If I want to get a quick thumbnail thumbnail, a quick B-roll shot, I can just move this thing over, or I can actually roll it over to my desk and use that for live streaming or conference calls. Another thing you're gonna notice here is I have this desk, and this is just a cheap IKEA desk. It's not even in the shot of my YouTube videos, but it is helpful for holding stuff. Usually I got my water right over here, and so I'll leave this on my desk. And then I have my script and a little phone holder to keep my script here. Sometimes it is actually on my iPad, but sometimes I use my iPad as a wireless video monitor for my Sony camera. So that's been really, really helpful. But whether it's my monitor here or whether it's my script, both of these are always out in case I need to use those. I always have my script out because I always need to look down and see what I'm going to talk about next. Now, as solo creators, I know that we're always looking for ways to save time and still make money, which is why I'm really excited to tell you about today's sponsor, which is Thinkific. So whether you have a channel that's about fitness, maybe you have a channel that's about cooking or business coaching, whatever it is, YouTube creators all share something in common, which is a desire to reach more viewers and make a bigger impact without trading their time for money. But the real question is, how do you do that? And that is by creating a course with Thinkific. Now, more than 50,000 course creators have already used Thinkific to build revenue and educate students worldwide. And you can try Thinkific for free today by going to createwiththink.com. Now, there's a few other things that really excite me. I think these are gonna give you guys some great ideas. Let's start with my backlight, which actually isn't on right now. So this is a good test. This is what it looks like with no backlight on. And this is what it looks like with that backlight turned on. It's just a subtle difference, but I really like what it's doing to the shot. It makes it look like the lamp is actually illuminating my shoulder, the top of my head, and I think it just helps me pop off of the background just a little bit more. Now, the awesome part about this setup is typically if you want to have a light like this, you need a C-stand and sandbags and all that kind of stuff. And if you're a solo creator, you don't have the time to set all of that up every single time you want to film a video. And it takes up a lot of space because I know a lot of us are using our home as an office, and so no go for me. So what I've done is I took another impact vari-pole, and I'll leave a link in the description to the video where I talk about these vari-poles and how I use them, but that is running from wall to wall. And then basically I can just attach whatever I want to these vari-poles using the super clamps. Even though this pole was on my wall for months and I had no issues, I still wanted a little bit of safety in there. So what I did is I actually attached this clamp up there, and that is just underneath it in case it ever were to fall off the wall. Again, it's been up there for months with 3 lights on there and it's never fallen. But just in case, I had that set up so if it were to fall, that clamp would actually catch it and not let it fall. And on the other end, it's just above my photo backdrop, so that's gonna catch it if it ever were to come off the wall. I'm not worried about it, but it definitely makes me not worry at all about this thing ever falling down. Another cool feature I did was I attached the light to this switch, which goes into an outlet, and the switch basically just turns it off or turns it on. So anytime I hit that switch, it's right by my filming station. Everything's right here. I can turn it on, turn it off, all right by my desk. Now that backlight and the key light are the only lights that are lighting me, but we actually have some other lights going on. You can see the blue hues in the background. I have that lamp. I also have some lights on my desk that I can change the colors, and it's all connected to my Google Home. And all of these lights are by Govee. They're cheaper than the Philips hues and they just work amazing. There's no flicker for videos, and so I love using these for my YouTube setup. And if you're a solo creator, you know that it can be pretty difficult to film yourself, and so I gave you my best tips on how to film yourself as a solo creator. So watch that video, and I'll see you guys in the next video.